I'd like to introduce Thomas Wallner, who wrote the screenplay for the book. Talk about the challenges in taking a story that is so well known, so recognizable, and how he made it work for film. Thomas Wallner.
You know, I just want to talk about how I came to the project. And I came to the project because Larry Weinstein, the director of the film, called me to, basically write the documentary screenplay for this film. And he gave me a copy of the book, and I didn't want to read it. And the reason is I'm German, and I came to Canada when I was 21 years old, and I have vivid memories of my father taking me to Dachau, which I grew up in Munich, is the concentration camp in Munich. And it's quite a traumatic experience to be taken as a young kid to a place like that and see the horror that unfolded. And then in school, I was taken there again. and in Germany, as I grew up, you're confronted with the Holocaust quite a bit. We have Spiegel magazine, which is like Time magazine. And when I grew up, there would be a story about the Holocaust, probably and the atrocities of the Nazis, probably in every issue, every week. So when I was given this book by Larry, and he gave it to me because I had adapted another book, Beethoven's Hair, to the screen successfully as well, and these are always challenging things to do. I bawled my eyes out when I read the book, and I think most people do, for good reason. So, well, okay, then you set out on this journey, and then you start thinking of the responsibility of adapting something like that. Not only the historical, responsibility that you have in relating such an event, but also the difficulty of transporting the idiom of such a unique book to the documentary screen. It's hard to work with reality to tell this story and remain in this sort of, I don't want to call it magical, but the book has a special idiom to it that's pertaining to a perspective for children, and I think that's what makes it so special. So I was really worried about how do you do that, and I didn't know. So you accept these projects, and then you just can't sleep because you think, oh my God, how is this going to be? It's got to be really good. So I woke up 5 in the morning one day, and I thought, wait a minute. I mean, this book has gone all over the world. Children all over the world know this book. Children all over the world know the story. They have their own relationship to Hana, to the story. Why not make them the storytellers in the film? Why not have the kids in the film, reinterpreting? And then poor Larry, I called him at 5 in the morning. I rarely do that, but I was so excited, and he was really excited about it as well. And then we decided that would probably be a good approach, and that's what we did. Now, just a few words, because we don't have that much time today, about adaptations of books to documentary in general. It's a long, laborious process. Because first of all, you have a gift. You have a gift of a great story that an author has already thought about a long time in terms of how to tell that story. And there, as a writer, I know there are thousands of decisions to be made when you shape that story out of the infinite possibilities of what it could be. Now, documentary is a very visual medium, so you can, especially since, the people who are described in the book, George Brady, who is the survivor who actually tells the story, it's a tremendous gift to be able to work with people who are still here. So what I had to do, having known what the story arc was, and that's so great about adaptations, there's a great story and the book lays it out for you. But then the next step that you have to take is you have to step back from the book, and you have to find the elements in reality out there that you have, your painter's palette, so to speak, in terms of actually evolving a script. And in my process, and I've done this many times, what I do is I see what I have. What is there in terms of material? What is there in terms of family photographs? Who is still around? Maybe there are people who, were witnesses that are not mentioned in the book because they're perhaps a little more peripheral to it. So as a person who does the adaptation, I actually have to go out in the world again and sort of, although the story is clear, start from scratch in order to tell the story that's been so beautifully outlined in the book. So I traveled to Japan and Poland and the Czech Republic and Germany, and then I dove again into the history of the Holocaust in a more substantial manner than I might have when I was younger. And so what I start to do is I collect voraciously hundreds and hundreds of pages of possibilities. I do pre-interviews with everyone. I get them all transcribed. And then I start to evolve scenes on little cards that might be reenactments, bit of animation, something somebody said, or a piece of stock footage that was found that's pertinent to the story. I spent time with the protagonists in their own lives to see what their contemporary lives are, because for documentary, contemporary lives are very important because they can help make the film immediate and fresh, that you can, in a smart way, put together the present and the past. And I think in adaptations what's very important is to, it isn't just, if you're only going on story and the facts of the story, it's very hard to give a film a kind of inner life. So one of the decisions that you have to make is you have to think about what are the themes that are contained in the book. And the concept of theme is something that works really, really well across platforms and mediums, because the theme is the universal that connects all those things in the story. And the theme itself actually really helps you make creative decisions as you're adapting something. So, I mean, there are themes of loss here, themes of survival, themes of trauma. That's something that interested me a lot. How does somebody like George Brady, who goes through such intense trauma, somehow readapt, survive, and have a meaningful and full life afterwards? That's a very important and very interesting theme, the theme of hatred and prejudice. And that then helps you form this. So, as you know, all stories are constructions, and the beauty of it is that if it's done well, it doesn't feel like that anymore. It feels like a beautifully told story. And Karen, you constructed the story, and the filmmaker constructs a story, and this is also an online property. That's a constructed story. But the thing is to do it just right, and that needs a lot of planning. And for a documentary that is large and expensive and shot in many different countries, you need a really, really good blueprint of what you're going to do. So I'm going to show you just the first couple of pages of the script of the film, and I'll make a few little comments. It was a 90-minute film, and you see a 75-page script here. But what it does, it creates a kind of simulation of the film on paper, and you can feel the emotion of it as you read it. What you might find surprising is that in here, there's George Brady. These are his lines in the documentary. Okay. Now, George Brady never saw the script, and these words are actually George's original words because I pre-interviewed him and everything was transcribed. So it's a little surprising. Now, a lot of verite documentaries don't have scripts at all, but when you're dealing with so many years of history and so many events and factual things that you have to get right, and reenactments, this becomes quite important. So anyway, I just thought it was kind of fun. As a writer, the script becomes completely irrelevant when the film is done, so it's nice to show it because it's a lot of work.
What I'd like to do is thank Karen, Margie, and Thomas. That was amazing. Thank you so much.